Hi again, Rob at SDC International Shipping. This is part two of relocating and shipping your household goods from the USA to England and the United Kingdom. This is what I had mentioned previously in part one, that this is going to be sort of the nuts and bolts. This is the meat of the move to give you some information and preemptively answer questions that almost always come up when I'm dealing with clients. First of all, I think it's good to have an overview of the process, the typical door-to-door process. And door-to-door may not be what you are looking for. Some folks are port-to-port or door-to-port or port-to-door. There are different ways of doing it, but let's just assume this is door-to-door. The first, after the engagement, the initial engagement, conversation, sort of a brief 20,000 foot, 10,000 foot understanding of the client's needs. We would like to do a visual survey. In part one, we talked about visual surveys and why they're important, to be able to actually see each other and see the goods and understand what is going, the nature of the goods that are going, and that gets down to the protection and anything like that that has to be accounted for. So that's step one, is the visual survey. From there, we'll come back with a proposal. And the proposal is going to professionally spell out what is included, what is not included, the time that has been selected, the date and time that has been selected, any element for the shipment from door to door is going to be in the proposal, of course, along with the price, timing, all of that. Next would be an order for service. Let's say the client says, Rob, everything looks great. This is fantastic. I think you've ironed out, you've delineated everything that's necessary for this move. Price is right. I want to move forward. Get an order for service, sign off on the order for service, and now everything gets on the books. So now the gears are actually turning. From there, after a client has signed the order for service and booked the job, then immediately we would assign a support and logistics manager from our company who is expert and specializes in that particular region. In this case, it's the UK, and he or she would immediately engage and introduce and just let you know that you can call it anytime, email it anytime, any questions, but our job there is to make sure that all of the paperwork and documents are in place, all the T's are crossed, all the I's are dotted, so that everything goes smoothly, particularly at the customs clearing spot at the port of entry in the UK. Let's talk a little bit about wrapping, protecting, picking up. That's the next step. So upon the prescribed date and time, our team would show up for the wrapping and protecting, packing if that's part of it, and loading and getting the shipment moving. So that is the next step. From there, the shipment actually goes on its way. It ships. It reaches the port of entry, obviously in the UK, and customs clearance process begins. That's something that we handle, make sure that customs is cleared. From there, assuming it again is door-to-door service, your items are taken to your delivery location, your residence presumably, and they are delivered. So all of the furniture items are unwrapped, reassembled if they had been disassembled, and all of the boxes put exactly where you'd like them. The furniture goes wherever you like it as well. We clean up, we leave, and that is sort of the whole process. Next thing I think is important, because I get this question all the time, and it's really important to know, is what can't be shipped to the UK. Well, the list is too long. I think but basically, if you're looking at the web page, we give you a good idea of what can't be shipped. Now, keep in mind there's two layers of can't be shipped. There's can't be shipped, like explosives and illegal drugs, and then there are items that are restricted, and we indicate that on the web page as well. Restricted items are more like, theoretically you can ship them, provided that before shipping you have an approved import permit for that particular item, perhaps a firearm, something like that. We at SDC International Shipping, we're experts at handling that, walking you through the process, making sure that if it can be done, we do everything that we can to make it happen, and give you advice along the way for things of that nature. So that's all I'll say about the can and can't and ship and the restricted items. Let's talk about packing a little bit. Try to make this quick, but it always comes up. So anything that is a chair, a desk, something that doesn't go into a box, those items are going to be protected wrapped and protected appropriately. That's automatic. That is not, that's part of the service, okay? Now, sometimes a desk may be treated a little bit different than an antique, extra large glass curio cabinet. But that goes back to the visual survey that we do, so that we really understand what's what and what needs to be done, so that things leave in the same condition that they arrive, or they arrive in the same condition that they left, and everything is sort of accounted for, and we really understand what we're doing. So but that's the standard service. Now, let's talk about things that do go in a boxes. Now, a couple different options there. First of all, the client, can do the packing of the boxes. It's no problem. Or, alternatively, the agent, SDC International Shipping, we can do the packing of the boxes and the professional inventory list. And as a side note, that sometimes does help with clearing customs because it was done by a licensed professional agent. But either way is perfectly acceptable. There's also a third method for the boxes, and it's a hybrid method. And sometimes the client will say, Rob, I'm going to pack the majority of my things. It's books, it's shoes, it's games, things like that. But my framed wall art, my TVs, and my china, I would like you, the agent, to professionally pack. No problem. So on the proposal, on the quotation, we would just indicate this is what's being done. It's packed by the owner. However, for each box that we pack, it's going to cost X amount. So we just add that. It's a hybrid model. Just keep that in mind. I talked just a second ago about framed art, art in general. At SDC, we're experts at handling that. So everything from the basic protection, wrapping, and boxing of, let's just say, framed wall art, up to soft crating, up to full custom hard crating of art. All depends on the level of protection that is necessary or requested, and oftentimes that comes down to the value of the item. But we handle everything along the way. Also, we offer, if it is requested, we offer full white glove packing services as well. So we can come in and do, we have a professional team come in and do the full white glove service if that's needed. Let's talk about pianos and things like that. Pianos, billiard tables, pinball machines. We do a lot of pinball machines, believe it or not, collectible ones. We are expert at handling all of those things, and we do it all the time. So you want to make sure you're working with a company that can do this. We, in the piano world, everything from an upright to upright keyboards to baby grands, full grands. We protect and rapid protect, soft crate, hard crate, again, depending on the level of protection that is necessary or requested. And typically, again, it comes sort of down to the value. But we can definitely engage on that and handle any need with respect to those items. Real quick, let's talk about methods of shipping, modes of shipping. So we ship, the majority of what we do is going to be by ocean vessel. It's going to go across the ocean, get to the port of entry, clear customs, be picked up, and our agent takes it and delivers it. Alternatively, some folks need it faster, want it immediately, almost. It's much quicker to ship by air, and it's the same process. It's just a matter of the port of exit is going to be an airport, and the port of entry in the destination country is going to be an airport. Everything else is pretty much the same. Price is higher, but it's much, much faster, obviously, and we can handle either way. I won't go into the weeds and get too much of a deep dive into shipping your car or shipping a motorcycle. We can handle all of that. We ship cars all the time, whether it's roll on, roll off, if that's the appropriate method, or if it's needs to go into a container along with the household goods. We're experts at working with you and making sure that is done the best possible way, and making sure handling all the paperwork and clearing the customs and doing all of that. That's not a problem. Certainly reach out if that is a need. Pets. Yes, we can handle making sure your four-legged furry friends do in fact are relocated from the U.S. to the U.K. Again, I'm not going to get into the weeds on that too much. We handle it. We absolutely can take care of that, and certainly reach out. And there's a little bit more on the website about that as well. Final thing I'll talk about, because it always comes up, is maritime insurance. So once your items are picked up and they're shipping, If you would like maritime insurance to cover the items, there are a couple different options. First option, total loss. That means everything is lost. Not one thing, everything is lost. An example would be the ship sank. That is going to is available at a rate of 2.5. The premium is going to be about 2.5 or exactly 2.5% of the declared value for the shipment. The next level of insurance is going to be full coverage insurance. Full coverage insurance means that items that are insured are insured individually. So if one box is missing or damaged somehow, it's covered. Versus a contrasted to the total loss that I just mentioned, that wouldn't be covered because the ship didn't sink. One box is damaged or missing. That wouldn't be covered. But in the full coverage scenario, it would be covered. And that cost of premium is 3% of the declared value of everything that's going to be insured. And again, that's individually. You can, under the full coverage option, pick and choose what you want to insure. It doesn't have to be everything. I've had clients who, shipped the 20-foot container but only insured 2 things. That's perfectly fine. It's whatever works, and it's very flexible. So again, that's something that we can engage and talk about when you're working with your SDC International Shipping specialist. So that's going to conclude the nuts and bolts segment here, part 2. And we'll see you in part 3, which is more the miscellaneous and legal sort of items.